This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and today we're taking a look at the Mystery Ranch Gallagator 25, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So the material that we're working with here is very lightweight, which is not really what I'm typically used to seeing from Mystery Ranch, but it is a recycled N70 140 Dobby nylon. So again, I think it's very durable and water resistant. It's just not what I'm used to seeing. You're not used to seeing, all like it not standing up on its own and stuff like that, because you're typically seeing these hiking packs from Mystery Ranch. Now, I don't think this material is bad. Again, it's just not what I'm used to. So it does affect usage in some ways, which we will get into. So there's a lot going on here, as you can see, but we'll start by mentioning that these zippers are from YKK. Nothing to complain about here. They're YKK zippers. They're some of the best in the business. Cannot complain about it. The pulls are very easy to grab onto, very easy to open. We'll get into the tri-zip in a little bit. We have Woojin buckles here on the hard plastic hardware in a few different places around the pack. And again, nothing to complain about. It's a very reputable brand. I'm going to check my notes real quick just to make sure I get this right, but there are quite a few colorways available. There's Black, Fox, Hummus, Dobby, Pacific, and Twig. So you can get, a colorway that matches the vibe that you're trying to go with. So on the front face here, I'm going to pop these open real quick. We have these daisy chains running down the back, and they are adjustable if you need a little bit more space to attach things. And we have elastic here on the top, so you can attach different things as well. So if you think, ice picks, hiking, trekking poles, just various, things you might want to attach on here with like a carabiner or something like that. And then we also have these compression straps on the front, so you can really kind of cinch these down to kind of make the most of the space that you have in this pack. Should note that the one on the bottom here only goes across the front face, just goes from here to here, whereas this one up here goes around the sides as well, so you can kind of compress the pack down. On the sides, as you can see, we have very large water bottle pockets here. This is a 32-ounce off-brand Nalgene. I actually got this for doing a fundraiser, but it's the same size as my 32-ounce Nalgenes. But as you can see, there's actually some space in there, so you could fit even larger items in there if you wanted to. And if you want to fit something that's even taller, like a tripod or something like that, you can use this compression strap because it is, you just undo it, loop it through, whatever it is, like put a tripod in there and then cinch it down. You can carry a taller item like that pretty easily. But overall, this is just, again, a departure from what I'm used to. You have different little places to hold on to when you're opening the zippers, so that's traditional from Mystery Ranch, but just the materials really kind of threw me for a loop. I like the kind of heritage looking Mystery Ranch logo here on the top. Again, something we're used to seeing from the brand. It's just the materials are not what we're used to, and they're going to affect some things that we're about to get into. So the back panel here is a little bit just different. Again, I kind of like it, and I think some people might not like it, so let's dive right in. On the back panel, as you can see, we have two very padded sections here. And then in between it is just that standard material that we're talking about. So if you don't have this pack completely packed out and you're wearing this, these can kind of move around easier than it would if this were a more material that had more like density to it. So these can kind of like get pinched up a little bit. And it's not the end of the world, it's just not the most comfortable experience. But again, you're probably buying this to fill it up, not to have it half full. So not a huge issue, just something to think about while you are considering purchasing this. These shoulder straps don't have as much padding, but they have a lot of aeration to keep things cool. So if you're taking this hiking or even just a long walk through the city, you have this mesh to kind of keep you cool. As I said, not a ton of padding, but there is quite a bit of surface area here, so more place for like the weight to kind of bounce around a bit. On the top here, I should mention that we do have a handle. Very minimalistic, not a ton of padding. But then we have load lifters on these shoulder straps here, so you can move around that weight. A couple places for you to attach gear on the little strap here. These are for a hydration bladder. You've got, or the hose from a hydration bladder comes out through the top, and you can put it on either side in either area. And then we have these very large pockets here for a water bottle, and they do have elastic on the top, so you can cinch them down. And then we have two sternum straps, which is a little bit odd, but is very comfortable, but you can also take them off if you don't want to use them. So if you found this video helpful so far, make sure you subscribe to the channel and like this video so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. I don't know if you noticed I had to move the mic because of those two sternum straps. It went right where my mic was. So if you're planning on wearing a mic with this bag, consider that you might have to move the sternum strap. But as you can see, this backpack, again, it doesn't really hold its shape very well, so it's kind of like just a big, almost like teardrop shape. That's because of how much gear I have stowed in it right now, but that definitely affects where it pushes into you on your back. And what you have stowed in here is going to like really influence how comfortable this pack is, you know. I know you probably wouldn't put just a bunch of rocks in here, but if you did, you're going to feel it because they're going to be right up on you, and there's no like stopping the whatever you put inside the pack from pushing on you. There is those 2 strips of padding, which is helpful, but there's a lot of areas that those don't reach, and those aren't really affecting the carry. So overall, I found it to be pretty comfortable, and I really do like these shoulder straps for at least what I have in there right now, and using this as like kind of a day pack or a hiking pack, or maybe a pack that you'd bring with you inside of your carry-on to use when you get to your destination. But if you have a bunch of like tack or something in here, this might not be the move because it can really push into you and cause you some discomfort, but with packing cubes and maybe a sweatshirt, it actually is pretty comfortable. We've got just one secondary compartment to work with, and I think that's very important because if you've used a Mystery Ranch backpack before, you know that the main compartments are typically just like a big open area, and there's not a ton of organization. So having a secondary compartment is a good place to keep quick use items that you might want to access during the day, whether you're hiking, exploring a new city, or you know, going to the coffee shop to work or something like that. So the access to that is up here, and in typical Mystery Ranch fashion, we do have those 2 tabs on either end of the zipper, so it's really easy to get inside. And I don't know that it's the best looking thing, but I don't know, I really like the ability to just pop open the zipper really easily because you can hold on to that. So there's no real organization inside of here. I've just got my phone up here, my wallet, chum surf shorts, pair of big headphones, and I believe that's it right now. Yep, that is it. So there's no real organization inside here. We do have a key clip. I always say that there's no organization, even when there is a key clip. I don't really consider this organization, but it's a nice tool to have. Especially if you're going for a hike, it's nice to be able to lock your keys up on here so you know that you have them when you get back. So nice feature. No other organization inside of here, but as you can see, it's quite pretty big pocket here. So it does share space with the main compartment. So if you have this thing completely loaded out, you're not gonna have so much space up here. And if you completely load this thing out, you're not gonna have so much space in the main compartment. And it's also worth noting that this top part here does not come off, but it is opens and closes. So if you have a bunch of gear in here and you like open it up, it's gonna kind of like flop backwards. Not really a huge deal, but just worth mentioning, I think. And as you can see here, there is mesh on this side. So when you get into the main compartment, you can see what's in that pocket, which is kind of nice. I'm often like a worrywart and thinking I'm going to forget something, so I can see the stuff that's in here, at least somewhat through the mesh. So that's kind of a nice little planning tool, like, oh, I can see my wallet, it's in there when I'm loading the main compartment, and then I can get ready to go. But that is the only secondary compartment, so the real party is inside the main compartment. As I mentioned earlier, that we're going to talk about the tri-zip now. So I really like the tri-zip. I think it's one of the things that really sets Mystery Ranch apart. It's a very easy way to open a backpack, and I dig that, especially if you leave this pull out right here. You can, not out, but like just easier to access than I had it. You can really get into the backpack quickly, obviously with the compression straps, but you just like, well, didn't quite work there, and that makes me look kind of stupid, but typically you're gonna be able to just go like that and you're ready to organize the gear. But because the materials aren't as thick as usual, I think that actually might be the cause of what just happened. I don't find it as effective or as fun as I have found it on other Mystery Ranch packs. So because these materials just don't hold up as well, and I really think this is a personal thing. This should not stop you from buying this bag. It's just something I've noticed that I don't find it as effective just with these lighter materials. I like these lighter materials, but the tri-zip isn't as much of a selling point with me with these lighter materials than it normally is with a Mystery Ranch pack. You saw there, still easy, just not as fun as I normally have with it. But as you can see, the tri-zip gives you very good access to the main compartment. You can really see everything that I've got going on here right now. So I've just got this TomTalk tech pouch that I'm testing. Inside of there, an Osprey straitjacket compression sack, which I'm also testing. I've actually had this for a year now, but we're giving it the full review process, and then just the typical Heim Planet packing cubes you typically see in our videos. So those can go back there. In here, as you're probably used to seeing if you know Mystery Ranch packs, there isn't much organization inside the main compartment. We do have this sliding pocket right here that's for a water bladder, so you can stick your water in there. We have a little toggle here so you can hold it up so it's not all just going down to the bottom. And then I always kind of struggle to find, okay, they're right here and right, should be in the same place on this right here. So you can put the hose through here and then you can attach it to your shoulder straps, so that way you can stay hydrated whether you're in the city, hiking, whatever you are doing. But other than that, there's no real organization inside of here, so that's why, for me, while I was testing this thing, it was packing cube and pouch city in here, because otherwise, things are just gonna get lost, especially with how easily these materials can be manipulated. You can really see that now, that you can really pack this thing down. I obviously didn't do a very good job of that, but you can make this thing very small, so you can fit it into your rolling luggage, put it in your trunk, do whatever you're gonna do with it to get it from point A to point B. But because there isn't much organization, I think packing cubes and organizers are very important, but you don't have to. You can just put your stuff in here. If you're not bringing a water bladder, you can shove some stuff in here. Important to note that there is no laptop compartment here, so taking this to and from work every day, I used a external laptop sleeve, kind of turned the laptop into my back panel, which made this comfortable pretty much no matter what I had in it, because I had a flat back panel, and then obviously I had the padding from the back here, and then just kind of stacked my gear on top of there. So if you're already taking a laptop every day, it's not the most convenient. I don't know if I'd recommend this for that. But if it's just like while you're traveling and you have a laptop you're gonna take to the coffee shop every once in a while and it's in a laptop sleeve, I don't know that that is the biggest deal in the world. But as I mentioned, you can see the secondary compartment here. You can see kind of with the light, it's kind of hard to see, but my hand is visible through there, so you can kind of see what gear you have stowed. But overall, pretty happy with this pack, but the materials just aren't really holding up for me. I wish even, like, they don't need to be as high denier as we typically see for Mystery Ranch, but I just think a little bit more oomph would have been helpful, at least me personally, in how I was using this pack. I will say I think this is a great contender if you're gonna shove it in another bag, leave it in your trunk, if you live somewhere where you can take day hikes after work and stuff like that. I think it is a good contender for that. But overall, I felt a little bit like it was missing a little bit of, the only word I can say is oomph, like in the materials. But overall, the hardware works very well, and I really like the design. There's just, for me personally, did not hit the mark. So there you have it, the Mystery Ranch Gallagator 25. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.